looking for my global sustainability goal, because they might ask unintendedly. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Timothy Childs. Oh, hi, nice to see you. Did anybody make it to the amazing party last night at Mondelez? Thank you so much for hosting last night. It was one of the best parties we've ever been to here at Seeds&Chips. My name is Timothy Childs. I'm the founder and co-CEO of Treasure 8 in San Francisco, and on behalf of my amazing rockstar team that some of them are here, we're very happy to be here at Seeds&Chips, and we're very happy to be a formal partner with Seeds&Chips as well. So as we work on taking some big solutions together. So a lot of us know a lot of these facts, so I'm just going to put these up here. We've heard of these facts over and over again, but those who haven't seen this before, I try to condense them. But one of the things people don't realize that actually food waste leads to conflict. You can reference earlier talk that I did at Seeds&Chips last year that talks about food waste can be a driver for conflict. So how many people here feel that the opportunity is food waste, business opportunity is pretty big? Okay. And by the way, food waste is a horrible name. I know, hopefully other people will be talking about how we can change it. How many people think it's really, really big? Okay, how many people think it's like gigantic? All right, cool, all right. So we're in the right audience then. So what we think is, it's a big statement to say like, is this the largest opportunity in human history, right? That's a big statement. Well, here's how we back it up with our argument. Well, food industry is the largest industry, as we know. It's continuing to grow. And it's also, as we know, like anywhere between 30 to 60% of the waste, depending on which country, goes to waste, right? So we all know that. And then so, but it's also, the food industry is the last industry to optimize, to efficientize, if you look at it. So basically what it really is there's a giant opportunity to harness, this wasted energy. That's really what it is, and really put it to use. So we have found that there's very few solutions out there. What's really needed is a kind of systemic solution to look at it end to end. Otherwise, you can't do it at scale. You can't own it piecemeal. That's what we're working on. And we see the opportunity to build this bold and audacious plan, this end-to-end solution, is going to be one of the largest, to address one of the largest opportunities we've ever seen. So I'd gladly argue with that with anybody that wants to talk to me afterwards. But we think it's a huge opportunity. So who are we? So Treasure 8, we're a food tech company, and we're focusing on systemically transforming global waste at massive scale. If we can't get the system to work at very large scale, we can't create a low pressure by all the CPG companies that need to take these ingredients and pull it on through. Otherwise, it's just going to be a waste of time and energy. So what we're doing is we're designing these regenerative methods to produce food for all through our proprietary technologies, ingredients, and products. We call that TIP. So what we've done is we've think about this entire supply chain, this entire value chain, by all these different steps necessary to take large amounts of waste stream. I won't talk about it too much in detail, but one of the biggest bottlenecks to do this is all the business development, all the things necessary to work with the waste stream sources, whether it's infield waste where we work with, or post-production, like from beer or tofu or juice pressing or whatever. Just to be able to get that product off like the back dock of a retailer is a giant lift. So what's needed is a lot of kind of business development and contracts agreements just to get it out the door. That's one of the areas we're working on it. But what we're going to talk about today is a little bit about our conversion systems. So, and again, just to rehash, people always ask this question, we're not working on some of the solutions from, say, restaurants or food service. We're working on major, consistent, reliable supply chains that have traceability all the way through, so we can actually deliver that to large-scale CPGs to be able to know it's consistent and reliable. So I'm not going to really talk about our great products. We've got some up here. We're making great upcycled chips. Nor am I really going to talk about our amazing ingredients, but I'm going to talk mostly about technology since this is what the main topic of it is. So last week I got the great opportunity to speak at Milken Global, where I saw some of the Mondelez folks there. And I was asked to put, if I could summarize everything in one slide. This is all in one slide of kind of what we're doing, so you can take a snapshot of that. I won't go into it. So, but basically, what people see from Treasure Island is like an iceberg, right? What they see is just kind of our products on top, but we have this massive little system that we built underneath it. And for those who are mission-aligned people, we also have our Series B investment open, and we'd love to talk to you. And there's a bunch of our team right there if you want to buttonhole us. So, in order to do this, we found a lot of the challenges been saying, well, us, large company A, large company B, we looked at focusing on food waste. We couldn't really, it didn't make the right sense, the economics didn't work. Well, we figured out the two major blocks were, it was actually transporting the waste over to be processed, and it's also the energy systems required to do that. So what we've been focusing on is drying solutions at the source and to beginning to build the infrastructure to actually use off-the-grid technology, energy systems to actually run those systems so we can deploy in field and at factories without additional resources to do so. And be able to do this allows us to actually, by dropping our costs, our operating costs, also allows us to bring these deployable technologies more deeper in country as well. So we've got a number of patents and a number of patent pending technologies and we have multiple drying modalities. And we're kind of taking this, what's called in a rough term, is refractory approach from making stuff that's low value as well as to high value all the way to nutraceuticals and flavors like that. So we're looking at one stream at a time and really extracting as much value as we possibly can. And we often partner with the USDA and we have them on our patents as well. But the kind of the exciting thing that we just kind of, shake ourselves sometimes to believe is we actually kind of hit the trifecta, which is almost close to impossible to do. We're actually making higher quality products with stronger nutritional density based upon other systems and at lower costs, right? So I challenge anybody to come talk to us and we'll give you some examples of that. So that's crazy, but it works. And this is one example of one of our drying systems. We got a grant from the California Energy Commission to build this first one because it's very low energy savings. It allows it's running off of gas. And then that's actually, this whole system, we ran it off a school bus, a compressed natural gas school bus, just to prove the model that we can be self-sustaining off of a non-utility basis. So at that core of the technology, really won't talk too much detail about it, but it's a completely new form of dehydration. So basically it ends up with a much higher nutrient-dense output. And one of the other things that this core technology allows us to do is take in-field waste like apples or beets or whatever, and slice them and make chips out of them within about 45 minutes without any frying oil and no acrylamides, by the way. It's very important. But it also allows us to break into the freeze-dried market, right? Which is kind of shocking when I first looked into it. It's a $46 billion a year business. So our technology allows us to process things a lot faster. So pineapples and strawberries, about 80% less energy to produce it. And we're basically coming out with 20% less cost. And the crunch is superior than regular freeze-drying. That's kind of a big, huge thing. It's a great idea for snacking for kids. And you start tying that into all the retail output from like a Walmart or Kroger or whatever. One of the main outputs are bananas and berries, right? So you start putting it together and got a good opportunity to really make some change here and make nutrition more affordable to those who need it. So I wanted to kind of capture some of this great energy that happened at the Milk and Global Conference and kind of share that with a group. Is we see that there's going to be a tectonic shift of capital coming towards the food sector, right? And then the conversations are moving from healthcare solutions are coming online. A lot of transference from solutions are going to happen for like AIDS is being solved now and all sorts of stuff. So there's going to be a shift from pharma dollars and healthcare dollars to food. So a major theme that was happening is there's finally research kind of coming out to validate what we all know: whole foods are medicine. So the research came out last week showing, it was presented last week, showing that whole fruits and vegetables, some of them specifically, are as effective or more effective than a number of cancer drugs for fighting cancer. Okay, so it's pretty crazy. So Rutgers research did that. So another signal that we start seeing, this is really kind of exciting, is that when the next slide is going to be about a call to action that we need to start thinking about as an industry. Is basically another signal is the EU just last week announced that they're looking for methodologies to track how food waste should be monitored, measured and monitored. And as we all know, that the Beyond Meat IPO is really getting people kind of frothed up about that, and it's very exciting. So in closing, I've got a couple calls to action, right? So what's really happening here is we're creating a whole new industry. Right? So we're within a context of, but we're creating a whole new industry, and we're just calling it the food resource recovery industry. Food waste is a crummy term, it's been stuck for a while, so we're trying to reframe it where we can. So that's what we're really doing. It's a resource recovery play. It's been done in other industries as well, technology included. So what's needed is standards bodies and a consortia and policy. So what's going to happen is what we predict and what we're having built a couple standards bodies before in other categories. What's going to happen is once the money's there, all sorts of people come and have solutions. And if we don't have standards of what quality means and what really, how do we measure, monitor it, there's going to be a bunch of noise, and that's going to really slow down our progress. So what we think is going to be driving this is economics, right? The value creation of this. So how many people here have heard of ReFed? Right? Okay, great. So check out refed.org. It's an amazing group of people. We love them very much. And what they're doing is they've been spending the last 5 years is doing the economic models proving to large CPG companies and retailers that if you work on food waste, actually it's got economic benefit. So for every $1 invested, there's a 17x return ROI. That's a big deal. So what they've been doing is now arming the bean counters and the CFOs of these organizations to demonstrate how this makes sense. So that's really something I'd like for you guys to pay attention to and to take a look. And the other part about it is it's also taking a page out of Patagonia's book, right? It's leading by example. That's why we build our first machines ourselves, or our 4 deployments, or our whole systems. We do it all by ourselves just to get it going, to start the conversation. So in closing, this is what I'd like for everybody here to make a commitment to do, if you're so willing to do so. So often at these meetings, these conferences, these conversations about, we've got 9 billion people by 2050, that standard thing we've heard over and over again. What often happens is they're talking about we need to have technology, higher yields from crops, we need more farmlands and using technology, vertical farming. Rarely is the conversation about food waste the first thing that's mentioned, if even at all. So whenever in these conversations you hear them, ask the questions, force the issue to actually make the concept of, hey, if we just utilize some of the 14 billion metric tons of food waste, if we converted that, we'll have enough food for a lot of people. So that should be the forefront in the conversation set, not more fertilizers and all this kind of stuff. So that's basically what I had to say, and I want to encourage everybody to really try to push on that where they can. So I just want to thank you for your time, and then on behalf of Treasure Aid, all teams there, if you want to engage with us, we're here to talk to you. Oh, and by the way, I'm glad I remembered, we're having, right after this thing, if anybody wants to join, we're having a aperitivo at the Vienhoed booth, and it's free champagne for all, and you can try some of our snacks. So thank you.